Hi guys, my name is Nonima Tigela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want us to talk about what happened in court. I couldn't even come and do a live. I was like dumbfounded for that time. It's 4:30 in the afternoon now, and I'm calm. I've done my research, and I thought, you know what? Let me come here and do my videos. So here it comes. What happened in court wasn't confusion. It wasn't procedure. It wasn't delay. It was a tactical maneuver, a quiet rescue mission for Advocate Baloyi after his argument collapsed live on TV. Here is the full strategy, step by step, of what happened. Firstly, the problem. Baloyi could not prove Gwabine's statement existed. Baloyi insisted for this entire week or two, in fact, from the first day Ugwabini has been on the witness box, he has been seeing flames of Baloyi. He insisted now Gwabini was a Section 204 witness. He made a statement according to Baloyi. The court must accept its existence. But when the pressure mounted to finally prove it, Baloyi had nothing, no statement, no signature, no proof, zero. This is where an ordinary judge would demand compliance from the state. Judge Rata did the opposite. Second thing, Baloyi panicked, switched to heads of arguments to avoid facts. When Baloyi realized he could not place the statement on record, he did what lawyers do when the evidence is missing. He ran to the heads of arguments. He tried to turn a factual problem into a legal debate. He relied on theory instead of proof. But the defense shredded those heads in real time, live on TV. You saw this yesterday. Live on national television, it became obvious Baloyi had absolutely no factual foundation. He was exposed, humiliated, cornered, and without evidence, the so-called Section 204 witness narrative was dead right there on national television on the spot. It died there, right? Thirdly, this is where Judge Rata pulled a fast one. Instead of ruling against Baloyi, instead of declaring the state that had failed, instead of forcing Baloyi to produce what he claimed to have, Judge Rata refused to rule. Why? Because a ruling would have ended Baloyi's entire position. So Rata did something extraordinary. He pulled a fast one on us. He used his judicial power to activate Section 186, not to clarify facts. No, not to clarify facts, but to save Baloyi. Number 4, Section 186, the judicial lifeline, activated to rescue the state. Get that right. Let it sink in. That's why we are there. The line of Section 186, that lifeline has been activated to rescue the state. Section 186 allows a judge to subpoena any person he believes will assist the court. But here is the real purpose in this context of Judge Rata. It transfers the burden back to witnesses. It takes pressure off Baloyi to produce the statement. It forces Gininda and his team onto the stand. It allows Baloyi to piggyback on the judge's power, and it delays the court, giving Baloyi time he desperately needed. This wasn't neutral. This wasn't procedural. This was strategic intervention. Judge Rata effectively said, Baloyi failed. That's what this means from Rata's mouth to us, even though he did not put it in those words. Baloyi failed, so I will bring in backup to fix his failure. That's what he did. This is the judicial version of throwing a rope to a drowning prosecutor. That is what he did. Number 5, why Gininda was subpoenaed immediately. Gininda is the architect of the arrest timeline, the theory of the case, the narrative about the statements, the existence of witness cooperation. By dragging him into the witness box, he can try to claim Gwabini gave a verbal statement. He can justify the Section 204 narrative. He can clean up Baloyi's mess. he can't create the context Baloyi failed to prove. No, he can create the context. He can create, the context that Baloyi failed to prove. Ratta knew exactly what he was doing. He wasn't seeking truth. He was seeking rescue. Number 6, the defense was caught off guard by design. Okay, they were caught off guard because all of this you could see, and said it was just these two. That is why also Judge Ratta was excited and pushy because he was like, if Monday comes, Mshololo and Mnisi might be back and I will be in trouble. Because Mnisi is going to say, my lord, I actually have something to say. Yeah, boo. The defense expected a ruling, a rejection, a demand for proof. Instead, they got a judicial coverball that changed the entire direction of proceedings. They were not prepared because no judge evokes Section 186 to save a prosecutor who failed to prove his own claim. It doesn't happen. It's only Judge Ratta. This is why it felt like a fast one, a trap, a power move, orchestrated protection, because it was. Oh, it was. What happened this morning was exactly that. The end game is keeping Baloyi alive. That is the end game of the entire 186 drama. Keeping Baloyi alive no matter what. We need to keep Baloyi alive. We need to keep Baloyi alive. That is what we are dealing with here. Judge Ratta's priority was clear: keeping Baloyi's narrative alive, avoid embarrassing the state, stop the defense from scoring a knockout win, make sure the statement becomes believable even without existing, bring witnesses to manufacture clarity Baloyi could not provide. This is not judiciary neutrality. This is judicial intervention to save the prosecution. That is what Judge Ratta did there. That is exactly what Judge Ratta did there. Baloyi failed in front of the nation. And instead of ruling, Judge Ratta rewrote the rules. Section 186 wasn't justice, it was a rescue mission. That's exactly what Judge Ratta did there. He pulled a fast one on everyone. Oh, he pulled a fast one, guys. He pulled a fast one. Guys, please stick around. I will give you all the juicy details and I will come with all the analysis that I have. And then I will give you hope, relaxer, chill, relaxer. The heavens have got this. It's shifting time. Remember that. It's December, yes, but it's shifting time. You remember that. Whatever happens, shifting time. Thank you so much. I will see you on our next video. Bye-bye.